Hey guys, so addressing the elephant in the room, I have not uploaded a YouTube video in almost a year. And that kind of ties in with the thesis of today's video. So I'm back doing a sit down video. Before we get into the topic of today's video, the main reason I've just kind of been gone from YouTube and content creation in general is just I've been uninspired with life. How do I say this? 2024 has been by far one of the worst years of my life, and somehow simultaneously has been one of the best years of my life. It's very weird. It's a very weird feeling to have, and I think because how do I go about this? I don't even know now. I have no thoughts, apparently. I was trying to be a thought daughter and all my thoughts are gone. Give me a second to recollect them. I think I've just been unmotivated with life in general. And I've just been uninspired, and my ability to be a creative, quote unquote, has just kind of been stifled recently. And I haven't just had the energy or the motivation to open up Final Cut Pro and edit a video. And also I think I fell down the trap of trying to be a vlogger, and my life is not interesting enough to vlog all the time. I need to have other content. And if you're not new to my channel, you would know that I used to do a series on my channel called Get Ready With Me, and it was me doing my makeup and then talking about some random topic that I felt compelled to speak about online for whatever reason. And so we're kind of doing that, except I'm not going to be doing my makeup. We're just going to be chatting, and I'm going to be holding my microphone, which is my phone, and hopefully the audio is not awful. So today's video is going to be me essentially letting all the negative thoughts that swirl in my head during this time of year, because I have seasonal depression. I become very negative and pessimistic about life during this time of year. And I thought that maybe so that I can get these negative thoughts out of my head, and kind of have a nice last couple of weeks of 2024, hopefully, I should just speak all my negativity into the stratosphere, into the atmosphere, and then move on with my life, so I don't go insane constantly thinking about the things I'm going to speak about today. So if you read the title, it's just it's basically me talking about my 20s, being resentful in your 20s. I turned 24 in a week. It is currently December 2nd while I'm filming this. I turned 24 on December 9th. Crazy. The fact that I'm almost halfway through my 20s. And, because my birthday's in a week, I usually tend to get reflective around this time of year. I think reflecting on my 20s so far is a productive way to go about my reflecting. And you guys get YouTube content out of it, so it's a win-win situation, right? I have bullet points because I can't just talk off the dome. If I talked off the dome, we'd be here forever. So I feel like every year or span of years in your life is quote unquote the best years of your life. People were college is the best years of your life, your 20s are your best years of your life, your 30s are your best years of your life. And I feel for your 20s, that is a lie, especially in the current climate we live in. I feel your 20s are ghetto. Low-key ghetto. It's maybe my fault, but I hyped up my 20s in my head just for COVID to snatch them away, quite literally. I can tell you so far, for the 3 years of the 20s I have enjoyed, I say loosely, so far, it's just been constantly the universe being you know what, the last thing we didn't kill you, so maybe this next one might. My 20s and being resentful are just kind of hand in hand and intertwined at this point. And I feel one of the first things that's mainly made me feel this resentment is feeling I can't live for myself. If you are a child of immigrants like I am, well, I am an immigrant, and I'm the firstborn and I'm the only daughter, I was set up to fail. Essentially, I feel whenever I do things with my life, I have to always keep in mind the sacrifices that my parents made for me. And I can't fully do the things I want to do because of that constantly nagging me. So I went into my, I'm still in college, university, because I'm doing a 6-year pharmacy program. I graduate in May, hopefully, if I don't fail any of my rotations for my appies. And I did go into this career knowing that it would be a way for me to like be able to help people, because that's like something that's very important for me. Like I feel like I want, like when I die, I want to at least know that I helped as many people as I could, like within my community. So like being a pharmacist is like a way to do that, right? But I feel like if I wasn't a firstborn, if I wasn't an immigrant, would I have picked pharmacy? I don't know. I don't know. And I feel like this has just been sitting on my shelf as like something where I'm like, I no longer feel motivated to do things because this is heavily on my mind, that I am going to have to study for the NAPLEX and then do the MPJE and so on and so forth. My roommate just got out of her room, 1 second. So like my resentment is low-key towards my parents. If you're watching this, I love you, but I'm just speaking my truth right now. And it's like, resentment isn't always logical, right? Like logically, if I wanted to, I could have dropped my major and I could have just figured something else out. But the fear of disappointing my parents is astronomical. And I think because I don't want to disappoint them, I'm putting myself in situations career-wise that if I had other options, I wouldn't be here. And that's like kind of making me resentful that like I'm in so much debt, which my dad is going to be helping me with. Like, let me be clear about that. My dad is going to be helping me with. But if I hadn't had to take on all these student loans to do a degree that I may or may not be that passionate about, which means I have to go into this career so I can make money to pay off my debt, it just makes me feel trapped and resentful that I've trapped myself here in a situation that could have been avoided in another life. So that I feel like that's like the beginnings of my resentfulness. And that's compounded by the fact that COVID happened. COVID is still happening, but COVID, like when the world actually like stopped and like actually cared about COVID, like kind of like snatched a lot of things away from me. Like I turned 20 during like lockdown. So like that was like the start of my 20s. And then my 21st birthday, one of my friends died. And then my 22nd birthday, I can't even remember what happened on my 22nd birthday. And then last year, I think my parents forgot my birthday last year. And that kind of like, so like my birthdays have always like around the time of my birthday, something's always happening that's negative. I've spoken about this before, but the main reason I was okay with going to the school I'm at right now for pharmacy is because they allow us to do study abroad. And is me not being able to go and study abroad my Roman Empire? I think so. Because I was supposed to do study abroad spring of 2021. Obviously, that didn't happen because of COVID. And I felt like traveling in your 20s when you have the means to do so is like kind of important to do. And the fact that I did have the means, I was fortunate enough to have the means and did everything in my power to make sure that I could do it, and I still wasn't able to. I think that was the beginning of my downfall of like being resentful. Because it was like, I'm not saying I deserve to have these like opportunities that I was expecting to have in my 20s, but the fact that like they just aren't happening, and it's not because I did something, it's because of something completely out of my control. And then we're talking about like things that have happened every single year. And as I turned 24, I have an autoimmune disease, an incurable autoimmune disease that I was diagnosed with in January of this year, which, you know, I really am my mother's daughter. We were both diagnosed with autoimmune diseases. I was 23, she was 24, locked in with my mommy. But there's also now this where it's like, right now I feel fine because I'm managed and I'm on medication, but like when I'm 30, 35, especially with like where being a history nerd sucks. Sorry, side tangent. But being a history nerd sucks because I'm seeing all these signs of like things that have happened in the past that may be like reinventing themselves to happen again currently. And just like knowing that that's probably in my future for the rest of my 20s, ghetto. And this like head like jumping straight into like conservatism again. Anyways, I digress. But back to my autoimmune disease. It's multiple sclerosis, and I have the relapsing form. I think that's the most common form. I should know this as a pharmacy student, but I just don't have the brain space right now. And right now I'm controlled, so I can still do things. My body hurts all the time, but it is what it is. I'm going to see my neurologist early next year, so if anything changes, I'll let y'all know. But that's also something where it's like, how long will I be able to like move? I'm in pain, but I'm not like, it's not unbearable. Like, it's just like, oh, I'm in pain, and then I can ignore it. But it's like, how long will I be able to like be in enough pain that's like noticeable but not like life altering? And how long will I be able to move like normally, quote unquote, you know? So that's like another thing added on to my resentfulness of being in my 20s. And why am I crying? Hold on. And as I'm speaking about these things, I'm like, there are people in the world that have like bigger problems than I do. Like, there are currently people going through a G-side, multiple people going through G-sides in multiple countries, and I'm here crying or like upset and like resentful that I didn't get to study abroad. You know, like, that's also like another thing about being a thought daughter where it's like, I want to be upset about things, but then I'm like, there are people that have it so much worse than me. And it's like, you sound stupid. My 20s have also been very weird. In the sense that, in the sense of my like relationships, both platonic and romantic. Romantic is a joke, but we will get there in a second. Whereas like platonic, where it's like, I have friends, and I'm lucky to have the friends that I do have, but I'm a self-sabotager and a people pleaser. Awful combination. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. And I will distance myself, and I'll see people my year that are my age that are like constantly hanging out in like specific friend groups and like constantly with other people. I've never fully had that. The closest I had to that was when I was living on campus, because I would hang out with my roommates all the time because I got lucky and blessed to have wonderful roommates. And if you're watching this, even when I moved off campus with some friends as well, like if y'all are watching this, love you down. You low-key kept me sane. Without you, I probably would have ended up in a mental hospital, where I'm like really not joking about that. I just feel like I'm not a memorable friend. I've always struggled with feeling like I'm not first choice, right? And how that goes into my resentfulness of my 20s is seeing other friend groups and them constantly hanging out and just like never really fully having that. Especially since most of my friends have graduated, and I'm still in school, and now I'm on appy rotations and I don't see my friends like at all. You know, this is just a ranting video, me coming up with solutions. I will come up with that while I'm editing this video. So I'm gonna hope we're recording right now. Anyways. So yeah, I lost my train of thought with the friends. If I have anything else to say, I'll come in while I'm editing. But moving on to like romantic relationships. I've never been in a relationship, guys. This was like a topic of discussion for like one of my get ready with me's, but and safe to say I have still not been in a relationship, and I turned 24 in what, a week. Part of me feels resentful that I've never been in a relationship, and that the only romantic quote unquote advances I've had in my life have been men that are old enough to be my dad catcalling me or coming up to me in public, and then me telling them my age or lying about my age and saying I'm younger than I am, and them still wanting to have a conversation with me. It really does wonderful things to your self-esteem. I can't lie. That's a joke. Like, my earliest memory of me being approached by a man older than me was when I was at Target with my mom. He was old enough to be my grandpa. Mind you, that was the first man old enough to be my grandpa that approached me. Anyways, and he approached us in Target. He was following us around the store, and I already have anxiety. So this was like making me extra anxious. And he came up to us and he was like, he wasn't speaking to me, but he was looking at me, but he was speaking to my mom. And he was like asking her if he could marry me. And if it was a joke, I didn't get it. And even if it was a joke, that's a sick joke. I was 12, maybe 13. And my history of older men hitting on me that are old enough to be my dad or my grandpa has continued. So that just makes me like not want a relationship. So yeah, watching like my friends be in relationships, multiple relationships, some of them, and I haven't even been in one. It's like, damn, am I not worthy of love? So what have we done? Feeling like I'm not living for myself. We've done relationships, platonic and romantic. We've done opportunities being snatched away from me that were out of my control. What else have we done? What else do I have to say? I guess also comparing myself to my peers, especially in my school year. Because unfortunately for me, most of my year are overachievers. Love that for them. But because of that, you're constantly comparing your good achievements to them. And I feel like this is a universal experience. Like, you're like seeing your like classmates like get internships and all this stuff, and you're like, wow, I'm not doing anything with my life. I am screwed when I graduate. I think for me, because I'm getting a professional degree, like I will hopefully be a doctor of pharmacy come May. Like there's really like no do-overs. And like we're kind of locked in at this point for like careers. So I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with a PharmD, and that's like one of the only things keeping me sane. But it's like I'm watching them do all this stuff and like get all these opportunities and being jealous. But then also on the other hand, I want to be more creative and do more like creative endeavors with like fashion and video editing and photography and art in general, all the types of art, like writing. I know like all these creative avenues that I want to pursue. So it's like, why do I care about what my peers are doing when I don't even see myself staying in my set career path for the rest of my life? Mental gymnastics I have to do to like be depressed but sane is exhausting. It's very much exhausting. So I don't know if any of this made sense. It was just me like going on a tangent about how life has been whipping my ass, essentially, and how my 20s have not been going the way I had envisioned them. And if you are in your late 20s or you're in your 30s and you're watching this for some reason, please tell me it gets better, because I don't know how much longer I can do this. And if you have any like tips on how to like not feel like the world is against you all the time, that'd be grateful. That would be very helpful. I'd be very grateful for that. So yeah, I wish this was more like positive, but like I said, the sun sets at 4:30, and you know, there's not a lot to be positive about right now. But hopefully come spring, I will be less of a shell of myself, and I'll watch this back and I'll be like, damn, she was really going through it. I'm not going through it as much anymore, but you know, only time will tell. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know what my next video will be. I don't even want to promise that there will be a video soon after this one. Thank you for watching. If you want to watch my older videos in the meantime, you can do that. And I hope you guys stay safe and healthy. And if you are in the same boat as me, just in terms of your feelings of your 20s, just know you're not alone. I feel like this is like a general consensus for most people in their 20s, that this shit is ghetto. I think that's all I have to say. So this is my video back. I am not going to promise consistency, but I am going to try and promise that I will only upload videos that I feel proud of. So, yeah. Bye, guys.